my own behest, not Lucius Malfoy's. This meeting is not about Professor Snape. The purpose of this meeting is to discuss how to discipline you for the events of this morning.
This man has terrorized your school for years. I spoke to students and collected stories to make sure there would be enough for a newspaper campaign to rally the parents against him. Some of the students cried when they told me. I almost cried when I heard them. You allowed this abuser to run free? You did this to your students?
Professor Snape has suggested, and I have agreed, that 3 full months of detention will be appropriate.
Declined.
This is not a request, Mr. Potter. This is your punishment.
You will explain to me why you allowed this man to hurt the children placed in your care. And if your explanation is not sufficient, then I will begin my newspaper campaign with you as the target.
That, Harry, would be most extremely unwise. I am the primary piece opposing Lucius on the game board. For you to do such a thing would strengthen him greatly, and I did not think that that was your chosen side.
This man's bullying makes you vulnerable. I am not the only one who could start a newspaper campaign against you. This is insane. Why are you doing this?
I'm sorry, Harry. It has to do with things that you are not, at this time, ready to hear.
The boy stared at Dumbledore. Then he turned to look at Severus. Then back to Dumbledore again. It is insanity. You haven't reined him in because you think he's part of the pattern. That Hogwarts needs an evil potions master to be a proper magical school, just as it needs a ghost to teach history.
That does sound like the sort of thing I would do, doesn't it?
Unacceptable. I will not tolerate bullying or abuse. I had considered many possible ways of dealing with this problem, but I will make it simple. Either this man goes, or I do.
Expulsion, Mr. Potter, is the final threat which may be used against a student. It is not customarily used as a threat by students against their headmaster. This is the best magical school in the entire world, and an education here is not an opportunity given to everyone.
You forget that you're not the only one who can see patterns. This grows private. Now send him... Harry flicked a hand at Severus again, then stopped in mid-sentence and mid-gesture.
Mr. Potter, once again, Severus Snape has my fullest confidence.
You told him that the Dark Lord is alive. You utter fool.
Harry, what are you talking about?
I'm sorry, Albus. Severus and Dumbledore turned to look at her. Professor McGonagall didn't tell me. I guessed. I told you I can see the patterns too. I guessed, and she controlled her reaction, but her control fell a shade short of perfection, and I could tell it was control, not genuine. And I told him that you and I and Severus were the only ones who knew. Which she did as a concession to prevent me from simply going around asking questions, as I threatened to do if she didn't talk. Threats still on the table, and I do expect to be briefed fully at some point.
And you threaten to abandon us to Voldemort if we do not comply with your wishes.
I regret to inform you that you are not the center of the universe. I am not threatening to walk out on magical Britain. I'm threatening to walk out on you. I am not a meek little Frodo. This is my quest, and if you want in, you will play by my rules.
So, Mr. Potter, if Professor Snape is to leave you alone henceforth, will that be the last time this issue arises?
Leave me alone? I am not his only victim, and certainly not the most vulnerable. Have you forgotten how defenseless children are? Henceforth, Severus will treat every student of Hogwarts with appropriate and professional courtesy, or you will find another potions master, or you will find another hero.